All right, so this is my file from Monday. And Monday we looked at creating style sheets, the benefits, and all of that kind of fun stuff. So this file is set up with Command 0. I just got a photo at the top with headline, subhead, body copy, and then we included some bullet points. And everything that we talked about Monday was really kind of centered around paragraph styles and how we can create paragraph styles to help us maintain consistency throughout a document or a set of documents, because any paragraph styles that I create in one, I can import into another document if I need to. So, the benefits: consistency, speed. Once I set up my style sheets and I've got them set, applying them to other product cell sheets or other headlines, paragraphs within my document becomes a click of a button. And then even after that, later on, if I have to go back and make edits to it, maybe we've decided that our headlines in blue are not what we want, which I've got all the way through my document. I can go back into my headline style sheet, just open it up, go to the character color section, change it to pink or whatever other color it needs to be, say OK, and when I go back through my document, that change is made. Except for one very common mistake. Whenever I went and did that, I had this text block selected. Anytime I select a text box and I click on a style sheet, it's going to apply it to the entire thing. So, but fortunately, I'll just select all of those, switch them back to body copy. Here's my headline, place my cursor in the headline, apply it, place my cursor in the subhead, apply it, and I'm back to where I was. Pretty slick, pretty easy, all sorts of benefits, all right? And then the other thing we talked about briefly was that if I want to go in and maybe I just want this bit of text, this part of a style sheet, to be bold. Go up here and make a bold oblique. What I've done when I apply that is I've applied an override to the style sheet in that area. We can do that. You'll see people do that all the time. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but the one thing that does happen is later on, if I need to go back and reapply my paragraph styles to this block of copy, that override will get overwritten. And, what if I've got a whole series of things like I did here, where I've got Lumicharge Solar Backpack, Lumicharge is bolded, client wanted their name bold. I don't want to have to go back and find all of those. If I have to go back and pick through that kind of stuff, lends, opportunity for mistakes, omissions, all of that kind of stuff. And that's the kind of stuff we're trying to avoid. So, and you'll notice that, these ones, if I look at my body copy style, it's all nice and clean. But this one that I just applied the bold italic to, if I come down here and take a look at it, it's got a little plus sign next to it. The plus sign is what tells me I've applied an override to something. And we can avoid trouble down the road at this point by employing character styles. So all of this so far, and actually I'm just gonna, if I've got an override and I want to change it back, all I gotta do is hold down my option key and click the style, and that'll revert it. One thing I forgot to reapply here was my bullet points, because I have bullet points. There we go. Those are what I need. Those are what I want to mess with. So, if I want to do this kind of thing, where I've got bolded text, this is where I want to create a character style. and I'm going to repeat something I said on Monday. Don't confuse paragraph styles and character styles. Paragraph styles are intended for block level elements. Basically, any block of text, large block, that are separated by paragraph breaks. So basically, paragraph styles we use to we create our headline styles, our subheads, our body copy, our bullet point styles, call out styles. Maybe we've got a style for an intro paragraph that's a little bit different. Those kinds of things we want to use paragraph styles for. Character styles, on the other hand, are intended for isolated instances where I want to make a change within paragraph styles. So my client wants LumaCharge bolded all the way throughout their copy. I want to make sure that it's always bolded, even if I would happen to need to change my typeface. And this is where a character style comes in. And I've already done this because I did it on Monday. I'm looking at my paragraph styles right now for paragraphs, but right above this I've got character styles. If I open it, I've got this one titled emphasis. If I apply that emphasis to any kind of text, it's going to override that nice and clean. And all I really did, if I take a look at this character style, whoops, see, gotta watch having things selected. It's an ongoing problem. All right, if I open up emphasis, we'll see that in my basic character formats, it does not have a font family defined. It does not have the size, the leading, anything else. The only thing defined inside of this is bold, because there's a boldface for Helvetica. The reason this is that now if I need to change this to Times New Roman also has a bold. So it's going to pick up the paragraph style, but only apply the bolding to the words that are predefined. So if I go back to my paragraph styles, open up my body copy, character formats, and change Helvetica to Times, and let me double check this. Yep. You'll see that my body copy all changes, and also the text with my character style changes as well. And that's what we want. Times New Roman is terrible. There's got to be something else. Let's see. No, we'll leave it at that. Say okay. All right, so Times New Roman is my body copy now. Not my first choice, but it's making my point. The only caveat to this is that if the typeface I need to change to does not have a bold weight, it will not apply a bold to that. That's the only caveat to character styles. So if I need to change this, let's say I change this to from Times to I really am not sure what doesn't have a bold. These are all terrible typefaces. Oh, there we go. Let's try. Does Optima? It does. Periolon? Okay, not a font I would choose for a typeface for a body copy, but there's no bold for Periolon, so there's no bold applied. Profile Pro, that's a little better, but again, no boldface, so there's no bold applied to that. I'm just going to change this back to my Helvetica. right? So that's the first thing about character styles. They're intended for words or short sets of words within a paragraph style. They're basically a modifier, if you will. So the other thing we can use character styles for are things like my bullet points here are really kind of boring. Don't really care for them too much. They're just little dots hanging out there to the end. I can use character styles to help create those bullets. A couple of ways I can do that. I can either pre-create my character style that I want for that and then apply them to the paragraph style, or I can do it from within the paragraph style, one of the two. So I'm just going to create a new paragraph style, or character style, character style. This is going to be my bullets styling. And I'm going to go under character formats, font family, and I'm going to pick something that I want to pick something that I know has a nice and bold. So actually, you know what? I just want those to be the bold version of Helvetica. So I'm just going to grab my Helvetica New and use bold. We'll just select that. And maybe I'll make the font size just a little bit bigger. Maybe I'll make it 14 points. I don't know. Something like that. And I'm going to say OK. And it doesn't do anything yet, because now if I go back into this paragraph style and open my bullet points style, gotta remember not to keep stuff selected. My Lord. All right. Go back in my bullet points style. Go down here in my list of bullets and numbering. Here where it says character style, I can apply that bullet styling, and it'll change the style of that. So anybody ever says, you know, the bullets look kind of weak on those bullet points, this is your fix. And they're a little bit high, but we can fix that. We can edit that. If I just say OK, I'll come back here into my character styles to that bullet styling, go to my character formats. Yes, it is. Advanced, go to baseline shift. And if I do like, let's try -3 to start with. Turn on preview to see what we get. -2 points kind of works to pull that bullet down a little bit. And just say OK. So I've applied this character style to the bullets to change the format of that. I can do the same thing if I want to create a drop cap. That kind of thing. Maybe I want a scripted drop cap on my first paragraph. I can create a first paragraph style, do a drop cap. There's a drop cap section, and I can apply it in the same way. But that's another quick and easy use for character styles. If I want to create the character style from within the bullet stylings, or the paragraph style for bullets, I can do that too. So if I open this bullet copy up, go back down here to bullets and numbering, there's a couple of other bullet character options here, but I can also come out here and click add. And I can look through the options in Helvetica Bold. I can also take a look through my other font options, and actually I've got I think you probably do too. If we go towards the bottom, there should be wingdings or webdings or something like that. Yeah. Webdings, wingdings. Let's grab wingdings and take a look. We've got a variety of different things here. Maybe I want my bullets to actually be a checkbox. I can select that checkbox, say add. Okay. Select it and apply bullet, change my bullets that way as well. Different ways I can go about that. That change to a checkbox for my bullets kind of messed up my tab positions, but that's all right. I'll just leave them alone. Any questions on any of that? Okay. So, and actually, I'm just going to cancel that. I don't want to keep that one, I don't think. Using the character styles as well, I can also change the color on that. If I want the bullet color to match my headline color, I can make those red instead. So paragraph styles and character styles are the two text-based styles we really kind of want to focus on and remember. I do, in every assignment we do with InDesign, I do ask to see at least 3 different paragraph styles and one character style and applied within the document. It's not enough to just create them, they've got to be applied and actually used. All right. Any questions before I move on? All right. So I'm just going to go down through here. I'm going to add another document to my, go into pages. I want to add another page here because this is where I want to talk about placing images, which we've done lightly, but there's a lot more, there are a lot more features to placing images. So I just created another document at the page at the end of my document. I'm going to keep the, because eventually I'm going to go back into the other style sheets and I'm going to apply images and whatnot. But I just kind of want to cover a few things. So first off, if I want to place an image, I don't even necessarily need to add a shape or a picture box or anything else. I can just go to my file menu, down to place, go find my images folder, and I'm just going to pick one of them. I don't even know. Actually, if you don't know the trick, if you're in your picker window, select one of them, tap your space bar. That'll show you a preview of what the image actually is. And if I use my down arrow, I can look at all the ones I have options of. The donuts will just make me hungry. I'll add this one. All right. So I want to select this image. And I'm just going to place it. And I can either click. If I just click, it'll place it at its full size, at its native resolution. Or I can click and just drag out to roughly the size that I want and place that image. And by default, when I do that, it will place the image inside of an image box. And if I go to resize this, let's say, you know what, I just want it to go to the edges of my document, and I'm just going to grab the corner, draw this out. It doesn't do anything, because all I've done is grab the corner of the image box. I actually need to go in here and click on the image. And now I can pull it out, scale it out. Always remember to hold down our Shift key when we do that to make sure it stays proportional. We don't want squished, squashed images. And also notice whenever I hover over it, you see this little viewfinder-like icon that sits in the middle of the image? I can grab that and just move the image around if I need to. It'll sit in the middle of the image frame, but that's the way I kind of move my image around if I need. If I want to resize not only the image, but the image box together, that's also easy enough to do. If I click on the corner, hold down my Command and Shift key and drag, it'll resize the image box as well as the image. So that usually confuses people as well. It's a little, I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, but because you can always resize the box, but you can still resize or recrop the image inside of the box. So it gives you that flexibility. So if I think let's go ahead and pull this back out here. Oops. There we go. And if I think the crop of my image should be a little tighter, I'll just double click on the box so I can select the image and I can scale it up. That's basic working with an image box, with an image within a layout. But it gets even more interesting than that. Let's go to the bottom of this page. This time, I'm going to grab an ellipse and draw it out here on my artboard. And I'm going to give it, just so I can see it, I gave it a black border. With that selected, I can go to File, Place, maybe I grab this image. And it'll place it right inside of that circle. And I still need to recrop it. There's a couple of ways we can do that though, which I'm going to show you here in just a second. So, but the thing about this is, and this is a little, it's not, I don't know. This is a little different. I can use a regular geometric shape if I want, or I can use what's actually designated picture frame. And they look the same. I mean, they both work the same. Pick the one you like, you know? It doesn't really matter a whole lot. Although the circle that I placed this image into, I guess I can still go back and heavy up the stroke on that. Oops. Grab the circle. I can still heavy up the stroke on that if I want. Change its color. Do that. All right. So when I place this, it still needs cropped. And most images will in some form or another. There are a couple of ways to crop. And actually, I'm just going to look at, everybody has a control bar at the top, right? So this set of icons right here will allow me to resize inside of the text area, and they do some different things. The first one fills the frame proportionally. So if I click that, it's going to resize the photo to either the width or the height, whichever one's greater, to make sure that it's filled. The one right next to this is fit content proportionally. If I do that, it's picking the other dimension and sizing it. This one right here is fit content to frame. I would avoid this one in most cases, but it's going to squish it and scale it so that it fits. And you can see every time this little brown outline, that's my image outline, my image border. This right here fits the frame to the content, which at this point doesn't do anything because So if I do that, back this, and I try the fit frame to content, it'll do that. Not really what I wanted. This one will just center the content, make sure it's right in the middle. So if I'm all the way down here and I center the content, it'll just pull it up into the middle of it. And the one right below that is content aware fit, which I've kind of come to like a little bit. Basically, InDesign's AI will examine the image and determine the area that you probably want to see. And actually, that did a fairly decent job. The reason I kind of like that one is that it gets it close, and I can fine-tune it from there pretty easy. But all of those fitting options are right up here in the control bar. I can also do, if I right-click on the image, there's also a fitting contextual menu, and all those same options sit out here, plus a clear option. But we can fit images that way. All right. Any questions on fitting of images? All right. So I'm just going to pull this up into here. Let's do something a little funkier. I'm going to draw out just a circle. Give it a black border. I'm going to duplicate that circle, or you can draw a new one, it doesn't really matter. Kind of resize everything, barely overlap it a little bit. Select all of these, and if I come over here to my properties panel, actually I can find it up here under Windows too. I do have a Pathfinder option, just like I've got in InDesign, or After Effects, or Illustrator. I'll get it right. If I go to my Pathfinders and unite all of these, they'll just form them into one shape. Now I can select that shape, File, Place. Maybe I'll pick this one. And I can use that odd shape as well. Can do the same thing with text, by the way. So, I can use I can use a predefined squares, circles, that kind of thing. I can create my own shapes, Could even use the pen tool to create a shape if I wanted to. File place. Use her. Maybe I'll try content aware fit here, see what it gives me out of curiosity. So all sorts of options inside of InDesign for placing images. All right. Any questions? It's all the same thing over and over again. It's just placing images in different shapes. So, all right. I'm going to keep all these shapes because I actually want to use them. So, I'm going to take one of these images. Actually, let's do this. We'll just go up. I'm going to go back up here to my first cell sheet. And we need to add some images to this. Let's say I want to add an image right here, kind of in the middle of my layout. So I'm just going to I'll just grab an image frame option this time, draw it out. And actually, let's make it, I want to make sure that it's the width of my column, just for consistency. Toss it in here, and then I'll go get an image and place it in it. And we'll grab this one. Open that. And then I'm just going to do my content aware fit again. Actually, I don't really like that. Let's, there. All right. So I placed an image. Actually, let's pull it up. Let's make it be flush with the top line of text. So the one problem I have with this is that right now the text is running behind it because this is layered like anything else. So I need to apply runaround to this text box. And with this, or sorry, with the image box, not the text box. So with the image selected, I'm going to go up here to the top bar again, and this set of tools right here are the initial basic fitting tools. So this one has no text wrap. This one will wrap it around the bounding box. This one will wrap around the object shape. This one will just jump the object. So the text will basically, the object will act as a giant return, basically. So I'm going to actually have it, I'm going to pick this one, wrap around the bounding box, click on that, and my text will automatically wrap around it. But it's not very great looking because it runs right up to the edges, so we need to fix that. And the easiest way to do that is I'm going to come over here. As long as I have this selected on my properties panel, Down here near the bottom is a text wrap option because text wrap is applied to this square. So you should have text wrap down here. And these measurements right here allow me to set what the margin is around the object. So if I just click this up, make it 0.125, you'll notice that in my layout, I get a real light blue line that shows me where the runaround goes to. So let's make this kind of over, let's get a little over. What if I want a lot of space around it here, but it starts interfering with my headline, with my subhead? Again, here for my text wrap area, I can unlink all of these measurements just by clicking the link, and I can make the top, actually maybe I don't need any wraparound at all on the top edge of it. But that'll allow me to control that a little bit better. I do think I still want to drop, I'm going to go back down to 0.125 on the other measurements. But that'll allow me to place an image and wrap text around it. And maybe I decide it needs to be over here instead. That's fine. I just slide it over. The runaround goes with it. Ouch. So we can place with our runaround. So let's go down to, I'm going to go down to my second page. Actually, let's do this. I'm going to go back to my pages that I put all these images on. I'm going to grab this one right here, copy it. Let's come up here. I'm going to paste it in here, maybe nice and big. And with this one selected, the third option, wrap around the object shape, I'll select that and it'll wrap around that shape. And I can still go back over here, and there's only one measurement now because it doesn't have defined sides, but I can increase the runaround on that just a little bit. So I can run around odd shapes as well. What's neat about object runaround is, and unfortunately I forgot to dig up an image to do it with, but if I have clipping masks inside of a Photoshop image, say I've got a photo of something and say I've got a photo of a table full of apples and I put a clipping mask around one of the apples to separate it, I can use clipping masks from a Photoshop file for runaround as well. Kind of neat. But let's see, run around, different shapes. All right. So now I'm going to go down to page 3. I can also select multiple images to import at a single time as well. So I'm going to come down here to page 3 and let's do place. Got all my photos. I'm going to select the horizontal one, hold down my shift key, or my shift key? No. Grab a horizontal one, hold down my command key, and select a second one. So I'm going to select 2 images here. I'm going to say open. So if you take a look at the icon, you'll see that it looks a little different in the middle of the picture. It actually has a number that tells me I've got 2 images selected. With my 2 images selected, if I use my arrow keys to go up and down, I can see which image I'm getting ready to place. So I'm going to start with this one. Click up here and drag it out. Actually, I'll just pull it out to here. And then I'm going to take my second one and I'll click here and I'll just drag it out. So I can quickly place 2 images within a layout that way. Now I'll just open, whoops. Open this text box up. Don't forget, if I'm running an image off the edge of my document, or to the edge of the document, it has to run off the edge of the document to the bleed area. So I'm just going to open that up and content aware fit my image. I can always use my direct select tool to grab my image too and slide it down. And I'll come over here to my image that's down in my text area, and I'm just going to apply runaround to that, and then come over here to my text wrap and increase the margin around that a little bit. So very quickly, I placed 2 images at the same time. And I mean, I can still place, maybe this time I grab 5 images, open them, use my arrow keys to sort of thumb through, see which is which. Let's place this one first. Place this one second. Third, fourth, and fifth. So quickly place multiple images that way. I can also replace images the same way. If I select one, I don't like this image, which I don't particularly. Select it, File, Place. Select a new image. Make sure that Replace Selected Item is selected. And say Open, and it'll just update that image to the same cropping and everything else. So I do need to go ahead and fit that better. But I can replace images quickly and easily that way as well. Any questions on those? One last thing with images, and I'm going to switch over to graphics. There's one little thing there. All right. So my last thing with images, and this works out better if I create yet another page in my document. So come down here to page 4. Let's add a new page. If I've got a whole group of images, I can quickly and easily place an image gallery as well. So with this document, I'm just going to place Command D, or File Edit, or sorry, File Place. And I've got basically 12 images here, I think. And if I say open, I've got all the same options here. If I hold down my Command and my Shift key together at the same time, you'll notice that my cursor changes to that little grid icon. And I'm just going to draw out. And if you look real close, you can see that it has dotted lines. So basically what I've got here is a 9 image grid. I've got 12 images, but oh, they did give me all 12 of them. So I can place a quick grid of images that way. So if I've got a bunch of photos that I need to create a contact sheet of, that works out well. For me, a lot of times I've got to create an index of images that a client can use for a particular project or campaign. I'll do something like this a lot of times as well. But before I deselect that, if I come back up here to my fitting options, I'm just going to do content aware fit. It'll fit them all to that grid. Yeah?
What happens if your grid is only 3 by 3? Like it will
Only did part of them and not all of them. So, so the way you do that, it's actually what I started to do, but the last time I did this, I had to, so either way, let me delete this, I'll show you. The way it should work, I wonder if I can, hold on a minute, let me, I want to duplicate some of these. All right. Now then, all right. So if I go back, file, place, you have two options there where basically it only laid down 9 of them for you. So you can lay down the first 9, then you can always click and draw out another grid if you want. Or if I go back here to all right, I've got a lot more images here now. So let me open that, hold down my Command and Shift keys, click and drag. I can, when I let go, well shoot, it still did it. Did I have, okay, maybe I didn't do it in the right order. Oh, I didn't do it. So I'm going to drag that out. And then I'm going to let go of my Command and Shift keys and use my arrow keys. And I can increase the number of columns or I can increase or decrease the number of rows. I think it's the left and right key, increase and decrease the number of columns. The up and down key, increase and decrease the number of rows. And then when you let go, I kind of went overboard. Did that help you? The only thing about this is it's really kind of hard to see that grid, but go. So it's a neat, good little trick to place different images, or to place a gallery of images if you need to. All right, last but not least, we good on that? So last but not least, and I'll just come back up here to one of these other pages, although I've kind of pretty much done them all in. All right, what if I want to place a logo? So I've got, well, not what if I want. I place a logo just like I do anything else. If I've got an Illustrator file that's a single artboard, it's just like placing an image, nothing any different. The file that I uploaded, though, has actually 4 artboards in it, and there's 4 different versions of the logo that are in it. So if I go File, Place, this Draco's Aqua Logos is the one I want. Before I hit OK on that, I'm going to come down here to say Show Import Options. I can turn that off. Show Import Options, say Open. And I'll get a dialog. And I can thumb through the document to see which artboard I actually want to import. And I can import them all if I want by checking the All button. I'm just going to do Previewed Page. And then the other option here is Crop to Bounding Box, Trim, Media. There's a bunch of different options. Bounding Box will basically crop it to the artwork itself based upon the layers. So it'll be, the crop on the image box will be tight to the logo. Trim will go to the edge of the artboard. So if this logo is positioned in the middle of an artboard, I'm going to place the entire artboard and probably have to resize. So I've got different options. I can also use the bleed area. I'm just going to say bounding box. That's actually, I want to grab the 2-color version, crop to the bounding box, and say OK. And when I draw that in, my image area is going to be tight to the logo. So I can pick just a specific artboard out of a file. Illustrator has the same ability, which I think I showed you, I forget. But if I didn't, you got the same ability in Illustrator. And I want to rag text around this. It'll just rag it around the text area. Although, is there a way? There should be. I need to look it up. There should be a way to get it to rag to the logo, to the artwork itself. I wonder if that was when I placed it. I forget. There is a way to do that. What I see a lot of times, though, is people will just place will draw with a pen tool a shape around it and apply run around to that, which is which works, which is why they do it. But opportunity to kind of mess things up a little bit if you're not careful. Right. Knew I should have parked closer to the building, or closer to the front door. Oh well. All right. So